Okay, guys, I am so sorry. It's taken me a minute to update this, but I was speaking to a brand inspector in Montana in order to get a little bit more information and find out who it is that I needed to speak to, and we know who to speak to. So what happened this morning is that the sheriff, who has actually been following the story from the very beginning, was excited to find him and put an end to it. Unfortunately, when he did get on site, Cyril was already gone. So he knows that he is in Montana. We were trying to get a little bit more information on how he got to Montana that quickly, but likely he trailered. Again, that's a small win, I guess, but in the end, we would much rather just be stopped. However, so now that Montana is looking for him and Wyoming was looking for him, now Montana is looking for him. And once he gets out of Montana, Washington is looking for him. And when I say looking for him, they are actively searching for him as well. It would be really nice to be able to get some spotters out into the Madison County area by Ennis out in Montana so that we can have eyes for the sheriff and say, here he is. And once you get that information, if you could please message me, Wes or Marissa, or email it to officialfalconexpress@gmail.com. Nobody called the sheriff out there yet. We are working on something with the Idaho sheriff in order to get it to the right person and explained from another law enforcement agency that has an active investigation out looking for him. I do know a couple of things that I can't share quite yet. But what I do know that I can share is that we need people to spot him ASAP. If you see him in a trailer, take a picture, get the license plate number of that trailer, and send it our way and let us know the location and direction of travel. Spread the word to people that are in Montana, because the brand inspector was actually quite worried about Cyril. Although she was very worried about the horses, she did say that him hiding off the roads in Montana, he's going to get eaten. So there's that. So I think he's going to try to kind of stay out a little bit more in the open if he has even the smallest amount of brain cells. Montana is not a place to mess around with. So if anybody does see him, we need to know immediately. That way we can get law enforcement out there. Okay, so we've gotten this a couple of times, and I understand the confusion, but you got to kind of look at the whole big picture. I'm 4 states away. Marissa is states away. Wes is here in Texas with me, and he's all the way up in Montana. It's not like we know people in every single one of these states, that there's so many of us that we know already that we can network within those people to get eyes on the road without saying where he is. That's number one. Number two, we tried being more on the quiet side and just giving very generalized areas instead of pinpointing. And unfortunately, being quiet doesn't get eyes. Then we get into situations like Island Park, where we have a location and we couldn't keep eyes on him because we didn't have enough eyes in the area. But I do want to say, we don't have to be the only ones doing this. If anybody has a better way of doing it, better than the way that we're doing it, please do. You know, we aren't forcing people to sit and watch on the sidelines through TikTok. You're more than welcome to go out there and find eyes yourself and notify law enforcement yourself and coordinate law enforcement across the United States yourself. But I mean, if you've got better ideas, please let us know, because we've tried both ways. And right now, with Getting Loud, as another creator said, banging the drums, we have more eyes out there searching for this guy right now in different areas than we've ever had. Not to mention, he's in an area right now where he is surrounded by law enforcement and ranchers who are all looking for him that none of them agree with what he's doing, that all agree that this is abuse. So, I mean, being loud is working right now. We found him twice in a matter of 24 hours. We could do all the reverse geomapping in the world and be quiet, and we won't have results like that.
Good to go? See you later. Oh.
Hey there, no is the answer to this question, and you're probably not going to like the answer why. Kill pens are a scam, and buying horses from kill buyers doesn't actually save all the horses. It actually keeps horses in the cycle of the kill pen and keeps more horses suffering for longer. Because when you save that horse from the kill pen for $800, sometimes nowadays I've heard $1,200, they're going to take that and go to auction and buy 4 more horses. And if you buy horses that are starving in a kill pen, you are literally just going to lead to more horse suffering. And you're also not going to like that I am pro-slaughter in the US. Not because I necessarily want horses to be slaughtered, but I know that there are things that are worse than death for horses. I have seen it firsthand. I have participated in digging a horse that is skin and bones out of a stall where it is standing on top of 3 feet of manure, only to make it back to the rescue to find out that it has irreparable damage done and the horse ends up being euthanized anyway. If slaughter was legal here, less horses would have to suffer like that. You clearly do not know enough about the industry or about horses if you really think that this is comparable to Falcon and Pete's situation in any way. Not only have Falcon and Pete lost significant fat and muscle, both horses have been being ridden lame, meaning they are in pain somewhere in their body, from day one for both of them, which for Falcon was back in March, and for Pete was about, I think, 5 weeks ago now.
See you later. Oh.
Watch this leg. I'm going to play it for you again. Watch this back leg on Falcon. He is actively limping on it right now. Sorry, that got cut off, but I don't feel like re-recording this. That video was from about the last 5 days. He is actively limping and is so stiff and sore in his hind end, and he is being ridden like that. Pete has also been limping in his hind end and been super stiff and sore from the day that he got him. Is that okay to you? Are you okay with that, Talia? Also, are you going to save horses that are in dire situations? I don't want you saving them from kill pens, but there are tons of horses in rescue that could use a loving home, or rescues that need volunteers to help with the horses that they save from situations like these. Horse rescues are the ones that are actually saving horses, not kill pens. And again, kill pens have nothing to do with what's happening to Falcon and Pete, the active abuse that is happening to Falcon and Pete right now.
Horses are the OG transportation, made to move and easy to care for, just as long as they're eating more than they're working. Each one of these critters has their come to see. It's disturbing to me because there's no other way to do it. And if you hope to keep your horses happy and healthy, belligerent lack of care is unacceptable. When it comes to big green grassy meadows, stay a couple extra days. And when it comes to gear and equipment, spend the extra money. Get something proper. But most of all, keep them fed. Give them treats. Horses are simple. They just want to eat. There's no other secret to maintaining a horse's happiness, health, muscle tone, and they prefer a little snacking on the go. Your horses will take you to the ends of the earth as long as you feed them the ends of the earth. The green and grassy ends. Because they got big butts. Muy grande grassy ass.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and agree with you here. At this point, I think it would be smarter, or safer, for him to be with the wolves and bears, even with their cubs out. Montana ranchers, from what I've seen and who I've spoken to, are not very happy about this situation. Montana is more of not just a horse state, but a horsemanship state. And these guys are tough. Now, I do want to note that I do not condone violence in any way, shape, or form. And also, I do believe in the long run, it would be more to our benefit to not make him a martyr. And when I say our benefit, I'm talking about the horses, because I'm with them at this point. I also want to point out that Montana does have livestock laws, much like Texas. And so for that reason, we're going to kind of keep an eye, but then from there, just notify us, not law enforcement, quite yet, because we want to make sure the right law enforcement is getting out there. We want to be careful and do this the right way and make sure that whatever alleged abuse is out there is prosecuted correctly. So I'm definitely not a pro when it comes to hawk injections or nerve blockers, etc. However, I did work at a racing barn, or board at a racing barn, that did blockers, nerve blockers for match races. So basically the horse didn't feel any pain, and usually would injure them longer, but that was for races, right? So they wouldn't feel their legs, they would run them off, and then once that wears off, then all of a sudden they're in a lot more pain than they even started with. So that would be like a nerve blocker. Think of it sort of like an epidural, right? However, I don't think that would have been the one that he would have gotten. I think he would have gotten the one that was a steroid, that is a long-acting steroid that you inject into the hocks. And it does reduce inflammation and it does make them feel better. Again, this is a temporary relief for them, but it would be a longer lasting relief. It just seems coincidental to me that these horses were super lame, even at a walk, very visibly lame, and then Daddy comes and leaves, and now people that have spotted him are saying that the horses are not visibly lame at a walk. So we know that he knows law enforcement is looking for him. That would be a pretty... If I was a vet and said, hey, this will make your horses feel a little better. But in the end of the day, that would still be a win. Even just getting hawk injections to get them through this trip would actually be a win, in my opinion. Trailering is a win. Even though it's hard on their bodies to trailer, it's a lot easier than this rough terrain that he is trailering through. Teton Pass is no joke. He trailered through it. Good. I'm happy he trailered through that, because we didn't think that those horses were going to make it out of there alive. So the fact that he trailered, now I don't think it was for the horse's good, it was for his good, but it still helped the horses in the end of the day. So all of us keeping all of this pressure on him, law enforcement keeping up the pressure, in the end of the day, even though he's running, he has now trailered more than half of his trip. I'm going to call that a win. If he did hawk injections, I'm going to call that a win. That also means that he took him to the vet, if he did hawk injections. We don't know a lot of things right now because he's hiding and because he's not sharing that footage.
Crossing Bitch Creek. I didn't make this up. Bitch Creek, Idaho.
Foxy lady. Foxy. Foxy. Now,
You got a felony. You got a felony. Man, your road looks tough ahead. Gonna be miles and miles away from your bed. The judges were